And you're going to see in the introductory, there's an analogy that I use that everybody raves about. I mean, it was the most simplest analogy that I came up with, but it was something that was profound to me, and it made me understand this whole process thing. And when you read it, you're going to be able to connect with it better. One day, I was actually at an event, and I was getting ready to speak at this event. And as I was sitting there, they had breakfast that morning. And so I went, and I love Honey Nut Cheerios. So I went over and I got a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios, and I was sitting there and I'm eating my Honey Nut Cheerios. And then basically, as I looked at it, I heard in my heart, in my core, I heard, look in that bowl. You're going to see two substances in that bowl. The reason why you're able to enjoy this bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios is because you got two substances that comes from two different backgrounds that has went through a process. This is why I was able to enjoy the bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios. So you have the Honey Nut Cheerio, which comes from wheat. Then you have the milk, which comes from a cow. Two extreme backgrounds, two extreme substances. But guess what? Because they both individually went through their individual process, now they are ready to be shared in one bowl together. When I saw that, I said, wow. And then I heard, this is how marriage should be. You should have the single man, the single woman should go through individual processes in their singleness first before they jump in the bowl together with another person. So what we see today in a lot of marriages is you see a cow and you see a bunch of wheat in a bowl together. Now, if somebody put a big bowl in front of you and it had a big cow and a bunch of wheat inside the bowl, you can't do nothing with that. Now, what's funny is though the potential of the Honey Nut Cheerio is inside that bowl though, but it's not processed. So guess what you got to do? You got to go through the process in the bowl before you can enjoy it. And this is why a lot of people who have gotten married basically said to me, they said, listen, if I would have just, took my time, got out of debt, did some things first in my singleness before I entered marriage, things could have been a little more easier. Now, these 4 words have helped me not to marry just anybody. Now, purpose, when you start to find out what your purpose is why you were born. Your purpose is the reason why you were put here on earth. Your purpose is so powerful that if you can find that before you find a relationship, it will actually scope down. It will actually trim down your search list because you just realize I can't just date and marry anybody because I know the value of my purpose. So I use an analogy that I think everybody loves. Every time I do a seminar, I use this analogy, and I wish I would have had one in my hand. But I can actually show you this. But the analogy that I want to use is a microphone and a mic stand. I've shared this in many of my seminars, but it's really helped stick with a lot of people. Here you have the microphone, and in this microphone by itself is made to amplify. And we all know that you speak into the mic. You speak into the mic, and the job of the mic is to amplify your voice. All right. Now, if you realize that the mic has a purpose, the creator of the mic realized, listen, this microphone is so powerful alone in its purpose that I am going to create a helper for it. So you get the microphone, now it has a mic stand. The mic stand and the microphone are two different things, but they're made for one assignment. They're made for one purpose. So when the microphone goes into the mic stand, you should be able to see harmony, unity. They're not fighting each other. They serve two different purposes for one big purpose. So what I'm saying is that when the man knows his purpose and the woman knows her purpose, when they come together, it should fuse together just like the microphone and the mic stand. I opened up this chapter talking a little bit about a story that took place when I was traveling. I went to the airport and I brought some luggage there, and I had too much stuff in the luggage. So when they weighed my bag, it went over the limit. Then I said, well, I don't really have anybody that can really, put this stuff in their luggage. And she basically said to me, either you're going to have to pay the price or you have to remove some of the stuff out of your luggage for you to meet the baggage weight limit. And the baggage weight limit is because the plane that I'm flying on, the journey that I'm going on, that airplane has a weight load. And and certain things can't supersede that. So what I'm saying is that our marriages, our future marriages, has a weight load. And many of us is trying to go into marriage just like I was trying to go on the airplane with extra stuff in my suitcase that I didn't need. So this is the season in our singleness that we need to unpack. So that's exactly what I did. I had to unpack some stuff out of my suitcase and call a friend and ask the friend to actually take and hold the stuff for me until I got back home. Listen, we don't have to do that when we get married if we just use our singleness to basically start going into our heart and saying, listen, I need to get rid of some of this stuff. I'm carrying some resentment, unforgiveness, some pain, some things in my past that I need to let go because it's not fair to the future wife or the future husband that I'm going to actually be enjoying my life with. So you got to have your mindset with that mindset that you want to do this because you don't want to affect your future. You don't want to affect the person that you are about to give your life to. It's really the reality. I remember years ago, I'm just going to talk about me first because I think it'll be safer that way. I said years ago, I want a wife, I want her to look like Halle Berry. I want her to have the spiritual anointing of Juanita Bynum. I want her to have the personality of one of the greatest comedians out there. I had this thing perfect. And then something hit me and said, well, what does she get out the deal if she gets you? And I'm thinking, well, she's going to get a man who's going to support her. And then I'm thinking to myself, why would a woman at the caliber that I just created in my mind want a man like me? So I had to do one of two things. Either rip up my list because it was too unrealistic, or I had to come up to the list. And this is what I'm encouraging you in this chapter, that you got to raise your personal value because this is the time in your singleness that you should be focusing on becoming a better you. Remember, this is all, singleness is not a curse. It's not a curse. It is a season of preparation for the next level if you want to get married. If you don't want to get married, you can do so much. Singleness is a blessing. But guess what? So many single people do not know how to raise their value. I wrote this chapter because I've realized that one of the issues that we're having in this generation is a lack of commitment. You have, in the beginning of the year, the gyms are filled. It is filled with people who coming in with New Year's resolutions that they're going to be working out. And guess what? By March of that new year, the gym membership has completely went down completely. People, they will commit on momentum, but they don't know how to stay in the thing when times get hard. And so commitment is a character quality that we need to look at, because a lot of people are saying, hey, I'm a committed person, but you begin to look at people and just look at some of the things that people commit to. People are leaving churches under a 2-year span. People are leaving jobs under a 2-year span. And now we're saying we want to commit ourselves to another person. Listen, while we are single, we need to be preparing ourselves to commit and learn how to commit to things. So now, I know that you're probably saying, well, didn't we already talk about this? Well, I kind of talked about purpose and for you getting to know yourself. But there's a difference between knowing yourself and loving yourself. There are so many people out there who is looking to get married because they are looking to find value in the marriage. And I shared this a little earlier, but this chapter, I kind of peel out why it is important for you to love yourself before getting married. And so I'm going to start off by sharing. In the book, I kind of talk a little bit about how when I used to live in this apartment, and basically we would ask the neighbors to use sugar and things like that. And just think about a practical situation in your life. If you need to borrow something from somebody, let's say you need to borrow $100. So if you go to your friend and say, hey, I need to loan $100 and I'll give it back to you. All right, if your friend have $100, then they can give you the $100 you asked for. Now, I know that sounds simple, but let's bring this over to love. If you are about to get in a relationship with somebody who's looking to be loved, but you don't have it already within you, how are you able to give it to somebody else? So this is a chapter I kind of share with you that you only give what you have. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you my approach. So my approach when I date is basically I'm going to bring a notebook and a pen, and I'm basically going to sit down kind of like it's an interview. And I know that may intimidate some people. They're like, well, listen, I want it to feel natural. Well, natural got you to right where you are because you naturally went with your feelings, and your feelings can trick you sometimes because you don't see all of the things. You're not challenging the person from the jump start. Because truth be told, like I said, if I meet a young lady, I'm hey, get your name, talk a little bit about, your history, whatever. But then I'm going to start asking some crazy questions. I'm going to say, hey, are you crazy? Are you a lunatic? Now, you may be laughing, but I'm asking this question because, hey, I need to know up front. Tell me, have you ever killed anybody? Are you a abuser? Now, I know the average person gonna be like, they gonna lie and try to tell you the truth. But watch their response. Watch their response, because a person of purpose is not intimidated. A person of purpose is not intimidated by these type of questions. I'm really sincere about saying to myself, listen, if I'm going to get married, I would love to be able to start from day one at zero with the woman that I'm about to spend my life with, and me and her can now build some financial things in the future together. Now, again, let's look back in singleness. Let's just say, two of you that's watching this video, let's say there's a young man in the room, and let's say there's a young woman. And let's just say that the young man, he is $40,000 in debt right now as a single man. All right, he's $40,000 in debt as a single man. And let's take the young lady, let's say she's $80,000 in debt as a single woman. Now, they're good-hearted people, they're hard-working people, but they're just in a lot of debt. On wedding day, and they get married, let's say they get married, on the wedding day, they start on the wedding day, on the first day of coming together as one, they start off $120,000 in the red on the day one of this long journey. That is not a good thing if we don't have to do it. So what I'm saying is I would love if every last one of you can start your wedding journey at zero balance and build upward, as opposed to going down $120,000, then trying to bring that $120,000 back up to zero, and then building from there later on. Guess what? People have done it. I've heard about some amazing stories of people who have disciplined themselves financially to be able to get themselves out of those holes as a couple. But what I'm saying to us as singles is, why wait to get married to start doing it?